they get discouraged. And so
Yeah.
it makes more sense to, to wait for the timing to be right. Although people have drivers here all over Phoenix because they're running Facebook ads for drivers in the markets that are open, and they're working very effectively. And so bringing in drivers, a lot of drivers, but then you have to push them through the process to go get their inspection, but they're just locking them in, I guess. I don't know. But there's so many drivers, as you know. I mean, there's so much to go around. We're not going to run out of drivers. But anyways, so I'm glad that you'll be part of that. And I will have been through the process here in Phoenix but before you guys get going there in Chicago on a bigger scale. So I will have already, I'll be able to offer more insight because you'll learn from my mistakes that you won't have to make, right?
And you know what? If anybody, because TJ is a driver also, but if people have questions
in a while, I haven't in a while.
Okay.
I stopped
but if
driving
people
when
have
they locked us down.
Okay. Go ahead, Larry.
people have questions and stuff, about driving itself, have them come to me, or I can do Zooms.
Yeah, that'd be
because
great.
I've driven in Chicago area for 5 years.
Oh yeah, I'll take you up on that for sure. Well, I'll probably like when we get closer, just see if you do like I can interview you like in the team and so forth.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, because you have a good attitude. A lot of the drivers I've found that they want to like consult, and I think that I understand that there's these rooms on Facebook, these groups where like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of drivers all come together and just basically badmouth Uber. And it's like a sales team. There's always a group of the sales team that start badmouthing. They hang out with one another and just everything's negative and their numbers are always really low, and so you are who you hang around. And that I think is that group on Uber drivers. And fortunately, actually, and unfortunately, I feel that what I'm getting is that I think Uber has kind of treated their drivers a little bit poorly, and they've lost a little bit of their dignity. And I think that plays right into iBoomerang's hands. They want their dignity
because they can, and I agree with you. The rates are better for drivers, and that's going to be a huge incentive.
That's right. They can. That's a good point. But that doesn't mean they should.
No, I agree.
But they have, and so that works out really good for us. And that's why they're so open, I think. But at the same time, I've noticed a lot of Uber drivers will want to tell like their distributor or whatever, because they know more about driving they know more about the way Uber should be ran than Uber knows, right? That's why they have these groups on Facebook. That's what they're in there telling each other, that they all know, they how the company should be ran. Well, I've noticed that a fair amount of the drivers that I spoke with, that's kind of how they are. They'll start coming in and wanting to say, oh no, they need to do this. They need to do that. I don't understand that, but we're going to run into that a fair amount. I've noticed.
Yeah.
You have a
but
good.
I run into it here. I know. And
you're different.
Then that they should have their own rideshare companies,
Exactly. That's what I keep saying. I didn't want to say that to offend anybody, but that's why I say, listen, they're still driving. Like they're not going to be happy until they own a company, and that's not going to happen. They're still driving, but they're sitting there bad mouthing. So you are.
Yeah.
That's exactly. You got me going.
Yeah.
In Chicago area, I don't know where it is by UTJ or in Phoenix, but in Chicago area alone, there was over, but pre-pandemic, 60,000 drivers.
Damn.
Now, there's a lot of them that are just maybe weekend warriors or people that signed up and did 10 rides, 20 rides, and they didn't like it. Mm-hmm. But there's probably 25, 30,000 drivers that do it day in, day out, Yeah.
Right.
And there's some people there are a lot of people, men and women, who start about 8 at night and work till 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I'm not looking to do that.
Right.
But I'll talk to them all.
Have you seen that? Yeah. Well, you've got a good way. So I think you'll be one of the Vibe drivers that could, have the greatest upside, because you're sharp and you're well-spoken and you get it.
Yeah.
And you're one of them. So, you speak their language, right? So I think that you have an opportunity to really build it big. And you're realistic. So have you seen the Vibe calculator by chance?
No.
Let me just show this to you guys really quick. I know that, Len, you've probably seen this, TJ. Why do you keep calling him TJ? He says TN, isn't it?
That's what I go by. Timothy John. I go by TJ.
So it's your middle name.
Yeah, TJ, Timothy John. But I go by TJ. Timothy is my Facebook wouldn't let me put TJ because it was so.
So okay, I just keep because it's my initials. So whenever you see that posted, I think that Len's asking me like TJ question mark. I'm like, yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, that explains that. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Because I had seen you responding to something I sent to TJ.
Right. That's exactly what's happened. That's what I thought you were talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be there, man.
I'm glad to see you, Tommy, and everything, and Len, but I gotta cut off because I gotta go make my wife's birthday dinner.
I was
Okay.
just going to ask you, isn't this her birthday?
Yeah, it's today, so I'm gonna make her a steak dinner. So I gotta go start cooking.
TJ, don't worry, we'll reconnect. We'll get into more,
Okay.
but all this
Well,
is
I did start to record the call, so I didn't have the
Okay.
beginning. I didn't have the recording on in the beginning, so we missed
Go
the
ahead and
beginning of the call, but that's all
Okay,
right.
yeah, just post it in the group. I'll check it later.
I will do
TJ,
that.
and if you have any questions, just go ahead and shoot them in the messenger group and I'll answer them on this video.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. See you
Talk to
guys.
you guys later.
Okay. Can you see this, Larry?
I can.
Okay, so this is just to run some numbers to stimulate your imagination a little bit. But let's say you had 100 drivers. And by the way, I mean, there's people that already have well over 1,000 drivers. Now, they're not all on the road and driving yet, of course, and not all of them will be. But it's not unrealistic to, if you treat this like a business, to eventually, we'll be in 700 cities. We're in like 10, in just the beginning of those. But to have 10,000 drivers, that's the number that I have in my head, is 10,000 of my own drivers down the road. You have 60,000 just in Chicago. I mean, 10,000 globally. It's not unrealistic.
Yeah.
Especially once we get going. Anyways, and especially that they come to you. I've never seen anything like this. And I've been in this industry for 18 years, and I've never seen Facebook ads or anything like that work. It doesn't work to build a team, but we've cracked a code. This gal on our team kind of cracked a code, and we're all putting in drivers for Facebook ads because they come to you. And again, I believe that's largely due to the fact that Uber has treated their drivers poorly. Because I've been taking Uber since as far back as I can remember. And I always ask the drivers, just to stimulate conversation, because I've always been intrigued by the concept. And I always say, how do you like driving for Uber? And I would say 9 out of 10, and I'm not exaggerating. You said a few minutes ago at the beginning that you enjoy driving. You enjoy driving, but I asked them, how do you like working for Uber? And even at the risk of the fact that they may get a bad survey or that I may be a shopper for all they know, they almost always feel compelled to tell me that that they don't like it. And I've always been I've always found that a little bit interesting. I'm like, I wonder why they must not be treated very well or something, because they'll almost always tell me that they don't like it. Occasionally somebody will go, I love it. I'm like, oh, that's a breath of fresh air. So I never thought about, having a rideshare company or having access to one ever when I would ask that question, but it's just what I've always found. And it's been very consistent since I started taking Uber rides. So anyways, but the reality is they're coming to us. Like literally, you're going to find that once you get started, and you're going to be on the ground there in Chicago, you're going to have a huge competitive advantage. But Uber drivers to start with, like a core base and so forth, that's going to be an advantage. But another thing is they're going to come to you. I'm telling you, man, they come to us in droves, and I've never seen that happen with any type of an ad in my entire network marketing career.
Yeah, and like I said, I know you're talking about Sasha, right?
Well, she's the one who originally cracked the code with the finding, but we've taken it to another level. But she is the original one that was starting to put in all these drivers.
Yeah, I actually have like 50 or 60 drivers. I ran ads under Sasha's guidance some time ago, but as far as I know, none of them are driving, and
But
I don't know why.
Well, that's what we're learning. We have to help them through that process. So and this is all uncharted territory. So that's what I love about iBoomerang. So many of the things that we're doing, it's never been done before. So we're learning on the job. And so we go out in repetition, and we learn, and then we get feedback and together, and we just make it better.
So I have an Excel spreadsheet with all my drivers on it that are in principal drivers. Should I go back through and start calling all of them now?
That's what yes.
I was running ads for drivers in Texas and in Florida, and in the markets we're actually in, Texas and Florida. So
we started a program. Sorry, Len, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, we started a program where now we're like this. We're getting these text. We were doing it with the email program. Now we've got this texting program where you can text a bunch of people once, and it's a drip system. So when they come on board, it starts bringing to them the information to help them through the process. Now the company will get better and better at that, but until then, we need to facilitate with our drivers. If you want to get them through that process, you need to communicate with them, open up some communication and help them through that process. That's definitely what
Yeah.
we want to do. And so we're getting better at that, but yeah. Yeah, so we can share that information with you. My mom would be a good one to talk to on that. I can arrange that. She's more involved in that.
Okay.
But yes, definitely want to contact them and help them through that process if they, provide it. Let them know. Just build that relationship.
I would be so excited if I even had one driver driving and I got a $1 check, a commission, and said, hey,
David
It's
Hunt,
like-
he was just telling me. David Hunt was just telling me that a guy in his downline, has like 7 Vibe Ride commissions from one driver,
yeah,
and this last paycheck, and he was all pumped up about that.
yeah,
Just-
yeah, proof of principle.
See, that's the beauty of it. Like today, I had 19 rides.
Wow.
Trying to think. 19 riders for $173 in a little over 7 hours. So, I mean, and if that was Vibe, the way I see it, if that was Vibe, then somebody's getting paid on 19 rides in one day.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's coming, it's going
And I, like I said, in Texas and Florida, I probably had 40 drivers going through the process, but none of them made it all the way through.
how come?
So, but you know what? To me, I look at that as it's training for me.
For sure. That's exactly right.
Why
And-
didn't they make it all the way through, Larry? What's stopping them?
they lost interest?
Too early.
And probably COVID.
Yeah.
I mean, people talked. I mean, I had some people. It was funny because I enjoy this part too. And people said, "Well, can you get me a car? Well, you want me to buy you a
Yeah,
car?"
right. Right. Like what?
But to me, I looked at it as I got all those people that didn't want to do it. But like in Chicago area, man, I know this area,
Right.
and it's going to be. I think I can be a bigger force when we start to open it up here.
Well, not only that, you'll have learned more. That's why I want you to keep doing it with those drivers and with other drivers in other markets, because we want to get as far, get as much training as you can. Trial and error, okay, this,
Okay.
so that way you can maximize your market. And so let's get a system dialed in. And that's why me being in Phoenix here, that will help as well, because I'm going to be, right in the storm learning it.
Well-
And so I'll be able to share that information with you. But yeah, you want to communicate with them for sure.
And I'm not very far from San Diego and also Tijuana. So
Yeah.
I've been thinking when we start to get close to coming to San Diego, that I would start working that market again.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to have to talk to Sasha and put some ads up again, and I think I'm going to have to put him up in Phoenix.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. And so me being here, I still think it's a little early, but I'll let you know, like it may be a month from now or so. But because we can't even put them through the process yet. They can only activate a code. And also I'm finding that we really need to set realistic expectations with the drivers, because we don't want them to quit driving for Uber or Lyft. Just add this to it, right? Because they're not going to get as near as many pings, initially. It's not going to be that. But we have to have the drivers in place. Holton has taught us that we need to have the drivers before they can really turn on anything that connects riders and drivers on a big scale, because you don't want the customers to get a bad taste in their mouth by not having a ride when they
Right.
want one, right? So we want to make sure that so it's a process, but it's super cool and super big upside.
Yes, I agree.
So Larry, let's pull Tommy back to his Vibe Rider driver's example that he was going to show us. Tommy, what's your schedule here? When do you turn into a pumpkin?
Check this out, by the way. Last night I got a text from somebody from one of the ads, and it says, I'll read it to you. Let me know ASAP about Vibe Share. So I mean, telling you, these drivers. Oh yeah, because let me just run you through this really quick. Let me see what time I have till, by the way, to answer your question. I'm good. I've got I've got plenty of time right now. All right. So here we go. This is if you had 100 drivers. And I can send you this if you want it to just play with it. But anyways, the average fare is, let's say $15, right? Does that sound about fair? And then the average rides per day, let's say that they give I don't know, how many do you want me to put in here, Larry?
You know what? Let's do 10.
Okay. And then how many days per week?
Do 5. 5's good.
Okay. So that's I would produce $9,000 in residual income additional residual income per month. If you had 100 drivers giving 10 drives a day and 5 days per week. So it might take a minute to get that, but is it worth it? You know,
Geez, that's actually a mind blower.
Everybody that gets in your car, you'll be able to give them a code to become a rider as well. You'll get another 3% on all the people that take rides. So you have unlimited. Right now, boomerangs are free. That's one of the reasons, by the way, some of the people are really pushing Vibe, you know, getting boomerangs out to people because there's unlimited free ones for Vibe and, you know, riders and drivers right now. They say it's money in the bank as far as they're concerned. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, let's just say what numbers do you want me to change? Just tell me what to change.
No, that example, I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I had $9,000 a month coming in from 100 drivers, I'd fucking retire and go skiing.
Because really, I mean, you would probably need 400 drivers under you to get 100 drivers that are driving 5 days a week.
Chelsea Pierce
You know?
has 2,000 already.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not like I mean, once it gets going, especially, it'll be the cakewalk. This is such a no-brainer. And they're
Yeah.
free, right? And a lot of them are going to become overdrive drivers, and they're going to build their own fleet. Those will be drivers you'll get paid on as well. You'll get paid through the uni level on that. So you'll earn additional. I'm just talking about the direct income that you make from your personal drivers, not to mention the ones that come into your team. So a lot of those drivers, what's going to attract them to Vibe Ride is the opportunity to build their own fleet. So they're going to become Vibe Ride driver. They're going to become overdrive drivers, and you're going to earn a commission on all of their drivers as well.
Plus the riders. I mean, when you really think about it, you could probably have 10 times the amount of riders because
100 times.
all they do is all they have to do. You could probably, like I said, you have 400 drivers. You could have 4,000 riders. You know?
Yeah, what is there, like 5.3 million drivers in the world, and what about 100 million riders? So there's that, you know, how many to one? 95 to 1 or something like that. 90 to 1, 95 to 1. Yeah. So there's 95 passengers for every driver there is worldwide. Is that right? Anyways, I don't know. We're good at math.
Was it 5.3 million and 100 million?
Yeah. Like 98 million or right at 100 million. 5.3 million drivers, I believe the numbers are. I have it on a PowerPoint. I could look, see exactly. That's just Uber. I'm sorry, that's rideshare. Rideshare. 5.3 million and right about 100 million, give or take.
And once people get used to taking rideshare, I had 2 girls today get in my car. They were going 3 blocks. And all of a sudden one girl goes, "Oh my God, is that as far as we are going?" I'm laughing.
She would have just walked if she would have known.
Yeah. But they're so used to doing it that, and my cut of that was 240.
Yeah. Right.
And the whole thing was just so stupid. To me, that was funny.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I'm not going to get upset about that.
Well,
Right.
you know, it happens. So
Sorry.
I tell you, I was in Tokyo one time and I was completely disoriented. And I finally decided, to get a cab and hand him the card to my hotel and have him take me there. He drove around the block. I was standing next to the friggin' hotel. I was behind it, which is why I couldn't see it. Literally drove me around the block.
That's a good story.
You know,
These 2 girls live here, though.
it happens. You get lost.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So let's say if 1,000 drivers, let's be a little bit bigger thinker. Bam, it's 90 grand a month, and people don't stop taking rideshare. You know, once we build it, they're going to continue. That's true residual. Now you'll have rides that will be taking place that you'll get 6% on, right? That will be the driver and your rider. And so when you are driving for Vibe, if you want to drive for Vibe when it comes to your market, just to add it to it, a lot of customers you could just give them your code, just have your QR code. They go, boop, they're your customer. If they're not already, you know, somebody's customer,
Yeah.
you'll be able to get them as your customer. So you're going to be able to build a huge customer base. You could put your QR code on your car, you know, stick it right in your car or something. something for
I don't know if you can still hear me, but you guys are all froze right now.
oh yeah, I hear
Well,
you.
But they are.
you're frozen to us, Len.
Yeah, I think the freeze comes from my end. I don't know.
Yeah, you can turn off your camera if it keeps doing it, and it'll increase your bandwidth. It'll probably allow you to be heard.
Right.
Right now, you're good. So, anyways, there's all kinds of things. You know, look here. What if we would just up this average ride to, let's say, 15 per day? You know, you jump up to 135,000. You're only limited by your imagination with that. And if you want, I can send you that calculator.
Okay.
Just drop it in the group link, Tommy, if you don't mind. And the truth is, you sent it to me once before. I could probably still find it.
Let me see if I can share it.
But,
Let me see if I can share it like that. Where's the share?
so basically, Larry, you're not.
Here it is.
Do you want to talk about building or not?
Me?
I'll listen. I'm most likely not going to be building right now. Maybe, hopefully later in the year, I will. But
What's hopefully, buddy?
Do you want this in Excel or numbers?
Excel.
I think that I've got this right. Anyways, Larry, what is your email address?
It's Ryan dot Larry56 at gmail.com.
56 at gmail. Ryan.Larry56 at gmail.com.
Yeah.
You want what's yours, Len?
Len, it's Len at lenmooney.com.
Len at Len Mooney.
You couldn't just drop it right in the chat.
Yeah, but I just hit the share button and it didn't, I don't know how to do that actually.
Okay.
I hit the share button, it didn't give me that option.
Well, you go into the chat and you drop it in as a file.
Oh, I see. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, let me try to do that while we're talking. But yeah, we can continue on. I'm listening. Did we look and see if TJ has any questions that you'd like me to answer? And we're going to talk about building, obviously. But
yeah, well,
Larry, if you're not interested in that right now, but let me just encourage you this. I'm building the team because the only thing that's network marketing about iBoomerang is that you can earn from the savings of your team's customers and the rides and everything. And, leverage is the key to wealth, and all of this is leverage. Everything about iBoomerang is leverage. And so, Len talked about he sponsored so many, and only there's 3 that are working. When I got in my first company, I sponsored 17, and 14 quit. And so they didn't even tell me they were going to quit. They found out how to quit on their own, and they didn't even know how to sign up. I did it all for them. Like I would get their information, a credit card, I would put them all in. I mean, I did every step because I wanted it so bad that I didn't delegate, and it was a mistake. It cost me who knows how much money, but regardless, they found a way to quit without even telling me, and they were my friends. And I thought, geez, I got discouraged, and I went to my mentor and I said to him that 14, all these people are quitting, and he said, oh yeah, don't worry about that. The signups will eventually far outweigh. Keep the train moving, he said. The signups will far outweigh the cancellations. And it was hard to believe at that time, but fortunately, I had a mentor that knew what he was talking about. He had been there, done that. He was able to begin with the end in mind. He was able to work as if he already knew the outcome, because he knew the ingredients that were needed. And he knew what was in it for the people who did that. And that's why he told me when I started that your half of the equation, Tommy, is to be coachable and treat this like a real business. He said, and then I'll take responsibility for your financial outcome. And I thought that was an irresponsible commitment, but it turns out he was exactly right. And, but my tendency was to stay within my comfort zone because my belief level just wasn't where it needed to be because of things like that. He understood where he was at in the life cycle of the company. He understood, I can say this now because I've been through it, but fortunately I chose to believe him and trust him, and my why overrode my desire to stay within my comfort zone or the voices in my own head and the dogs barking that were saying that it wouldn't work for me, that I wasn't I wasn't qualified for it or whatever, it's not real, whatever it was. But those are going to always creep in. And when things like people would quit, they would really, take over. And anytime you try to do something on a big scale or something that's different, that's considered different, and being financially free is different, and network marketing is different than what they teach. And so you're subject to ridicule. And sometimes what the ridicule comes from ourselves, we're worried about what people think and these type of things. But when you really start to wrap your mind around it and really learn what you have a hold of and what it could mean for people, it's like people are dying of thirst and we're giving out free water. Then you realize that you're doing them a favor bringing it to them. They're not doing you a favor looking at it. And you think about the fact that my mentor changed my life. And it was up to me, not only financially, but who I was able to become in the process, the different mindset, and a better father, a better friend, a better husband, and just better leader. And I learned philosophies and principles that I never would have learned otherwise, but it was through this business model. But mentors choose their student. It's not the other way around. And fortunately, I would go to him with the things that kept me within my comfort zone and so forth, and the doubt. And even though I wanted to resist believing him, his track record, one day it hit me that he doesn't make any money if he doesn't help me make money. And so the things he's sharing with me must be true, must be the best that he has, because he had 33 years of experience. He had earned over $50 million. He had total personal and professional freedom. And I remember thinking, it's not like a job where that they would tell us something and, they're just doing the minimum. They don't want to lift you up, your managers. That makes them look bad. They don't want to replace themselves. And so if you're ambitious, they might kind of try to squash it a little bit. And here's the exact opposite. He doesn't make a dime if he doesn't help me make $1. And so what he's sharing with me must be the best he knows, because he has no reason not to give it to me. So I struggled at the beginning with it, but I chose to keep believing him. And even when things would be discouraging, and he just told me one day that, Tommy, discouragement is a luxury you cannot afford, and success lives outside of your comfort zone. And so in the comfort zone expanded, but what happens is the belief. It's the belief, the lack of belief, that will prevent us from feeling, because then it won't be out of your comfort zone when you realize that you're giving them Len, you're giving them me, you're giving them Edwin. Most people couldn't afford Edwin. But he's made $3 million with this already. At the previous company, he made $250,000 a month for the better part of 10 years. And the nature of the business model is, we have an opportunity to put him to work for us for free, and we couldn't afford him. So if somebody comes in and if they're coachable and they treat it like a business, we collectively are going to put hundreds of hours into building their team. Like right now, if there was 20 people in between Len and I, here I've invested an hour or so already into his team, and the 20 people in between us wouldn't even know it. And that would mean they're leveraging me. I'm working for them for free right now. They stand to benefit more from it than I do. They don't even realize it's taking place. And that's what starts to work for you. But a lot of people would be able to afford that help if I charged by the hour, because of the experience that I've gained over the years. But you have it for free because of the line of sponsorship that you found yourself in. And so that's what changed my life. And so I would encourage you, if you decide you want to plug away, at building a team as well, I'm going to help you. And you have a direct line to me. And I would encourage you to not make a move for the first 60 days or so without getting coaching. And then you'll just earn as you learn. We do it together. Other businesses, it's you against the world. This business, it's a team sport. And you have a great team. So you're giving those people our resumes are in their email box, and we're begging to go to work for them for free. If they're coachable and if they treat it like a business, then those are the ones we're going to invest our time into, not only reactively, but proactively. Because like pruning trees, you prune a tree where you want it to grow. In this business, you spend your time with the people that where you believe your income is going to come from, and then down the road where it is coming from. So last thing I'll say on this is that now I understand how my mentor was able to communicate with so much confidence that he'd say something, hey, if you do your part, and that looks like being teachable or coachable, everyone thinks they are. And treating this like a business, not like you invested $1,000 into it, but like you invested $1 million. And that doesn't mean 40 hours a week. It just means that whatever time you can put, it's productive and it's consistent, and that it's not by yourself, because that's the biggest impediment to success I've witnessed, is trying to do it yourself. It's a formula for failure. But then now I understand how he could say that, because he knew the ingredients that were required. And this is the first time I've ever built where I can I feel like I can say the exact same thing to you with the same level of confidence that my mentor, who never made a mistake analyzing companies in 38 years before he died in an accident. He was with 4 companies. He was an engineer by trade. He knew how to ask the hard questions. We have those same ingredients, and it's a special feeling. So it's easy for me to do the activities and to get out of my comfort zone if required, because I know what we have, and I understand that you don't yet. And so, and because I've been there, so I can understand where you're at. But if you have something that you want to accomplish that you can't accomplish doing what you're doing, driving for Uber, I would encourage you to start chipping away at building a team in addition, so we can get where you want to go much quicker. So I'll help you with that process. You're not alone. I'm in your corner. Okay.
Thanks, Tommy.
You got it, sir.
It's funny, Atlanta and Tommy, I almost wasn't going to get on this call tonight,
Glad you did.
but I'm
Why's
glad I
that?
did.
Why's that, Larry?
And Tommy, you were nothing like, I've seen your presentations and stuff before. I thought it was just going to be all focused on building.
Yeah.
And since I haven't been building, I thought, but you guys aren't judging me for that, Tommy. Like you said,
Yeah.
you've been there where I am. And so, but I'm glad I got on.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you too.
There's no judgment at all, Larry. There's no
It's a
judgment.
relationship business.
But
It's a relationship.
I'd like to encourage you.
Yeah, the most encouraging thing is just, going out and building it, even if people don't. You know what I mean? My friends that have,
Yeah.
I only had one friend come along with me in the first company, one friend out of all my friends, and he made millions. His name is Justin Bryce, and but it was fun, where he died actually, but sadly, but he, it was cool, but none of the other friends came with. And so you can't count on that. But it's a lot of fun to do with people that and a lot of people that came in, they said, what motivated me is that you did it without me, So that's the best thing, is just do it. But listen, we go at your speed. If you have your gas pedal mashed down, I'm going to mash mine down with you, Larry. And I'm on this call because Len has been reaching out, and that shows ambition. And I have infinite patience for people who try. I don't have any patience for whiners, complainers, excuse makers. Life's too short. Everyone gets a piece of the heart, but only so many people can get a piece of the calendar. I've learned that over time, because you have to have some balance, and there's only so many hours in the day. And so you work with the workers. And I used to think that it was like, man, it's kind of harsh when they'd say, hey, I'll match your efforts. If you back your foot off the gas pedal, I'll go create your competition somewhere. And I didn't understand that initially, but now I totally get that. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to getting to know you. This is a relationship business. You seem like a really cool guy, and the right fit for the type of people that I like to work with. Integrity and so forth. You seem like a really good person. And so I'm glad you're part of the team, and I'm looking forward to building business with you at your speed.
You still there, Larry?
Thanks.
He just uncounted. He's there.
I guess we lost your camera. No, we lost you.
Oh, you're muted.
You're
You're
muted.
muted. Got all kinds of things going on. Go ahead and unmute, Larry.
You're muted, Larry.
Sorry, my internet's dropping anyway, so I'm going to probably have to go.
No
Thank
problem.
Uh-oh.
Thank you very much, Tommy.
Okay.
Yes, sir. You got it. Hey, and you have a direct
No,
line.
I'm not, I'm unmuted now.
Yeah, he is. Len, can you start like a group or something, and where you can connect Larry now, like on Facebook, and then Larry, I'll shoot you my cell phone number. That's the best way to get me, is text or call, and then I'll we can communicate. You have a direct line. There's no
Okay.
pecking order.
So Tommy, the best way to do that is right in the message
Okay.
thread that we've already got established.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. But
Yeah.
he can message me directly on my phone, because my phone's the best way. Messenger is not the best. That's why I don't see it as often. But yeah.
Okay. And I have a bit of a challenge being not in Mexico, because I don't
Understood.
have a US cell phone that I can message on.
Understood.
So,
Larry, you can drop off if you want. I know you were looking to you had to go or something. That's fine. I just want you to know. Either way. And Len, if there's something else you want to go over, I'm
well, yeah, Tommy,
Yeah, I'm losing you guys.
no problem.
Okay.
And then you gotta drop off. Thanks, Larry.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
all right, I'm recording the rest of this anyhow, Larry, so yeah, Tommy, so what's
Great
my
guy.
next step?
Well, you have to recruit. We're talking about building a team right now. So
Yeah.
that would, you want to, what I would do is, have I ever sent you the prospect profile sheets? Okay, here's where we're going to start.
I don't think so.
I'm going to send you something called a prospect information sheet, and I want you to fill out 5 to 10. Pick your best candidates. If you can only go into business with these 10 people, who would it be? Don't worry about whether you think they'll be interested or not. If they chose to do it, they'd be great at it. All right. So
Okay.
if you had, and fill them out as complete as possible, even if you don't know, can make your best educated guess.
Okay.
And then let's schedule a time tomorrow or the next day, whatever works, and let's go over them. And I will help you with a strategy to invite them. But I'm going to explain to you once you do it why I did it, why we're using these sheets, and what. So again, it's your team that if you could only go into business with 10 people, if you had to bet $10,000 of your own money that each of these people would be great at this if they chose to do it. Again, don't worry whether you think they'll be interested. If they chose to do it, they'd be great at it. And then let's go over those people.
Okay. Done.
Okay.
And you also mentioned the other day to send you my why.
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that.
Yes,
Okay.
do that. And then put your why. Don't forget, put it places where you'll see it, and make sure that you are disciplined in reading it, twice a day. And
Okay.
definitely, take the time to do that, but think it out, really write it out and flesh it out. And the more emotional that it is, the more effective it will be for you, but it also is the only leverage that you give me to hold you accountable.
Well, let me send you the one that I've done recently, because what I
That's
did
good.
is I did the I want to make money. Why? And then I just went down through the why. Why do you want that? Why do you want that? Why do you want that?
That's good. Yeah,
Um,
that'll be good.
A very simple. I've written some very complicated long ones, but this one's simple.
Well, I really appreciate you, Len, and be sure that one thing that I was going to say, be sure that you're always keeping it fun for people, because you're a fun guy, but you also can be intense a little bit because you're motivated. And this is the interesting business. You can't make people do things. You have no leverage, and people need something else to do, like they need a hole in their heads. So be careful just to be not sound like a boss.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I pushed Larry a little bit, but you know what? Larry and I have been working together off and on for probably
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
So
No, I understand.
I feel pretty comfortable with Larry.
You guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you want to keep it. My mentor used to always say, hey, keep it simple and have fun.
Yeah.
I'm always struggling with the simplicity part. But there is, if you look at like the Holton, he keeps it fun, and these guys keep it fun. And it's always why say Larry,
My internet is frozen, slowed down again.
yeah,
Okay.
just turn off your camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'll fix it. Okay, so you could say, Mike, I know that you said that you would do just about anything to be able to bring Becky home, where she doesn't have to work and she could raise your kids, be home with the kids. And I believe we have the vehicle, we could do that, and we could do it sooner than later. However, you're going to need to make the list. You're going to need to, whatever the steps that they're dropping, that they're not doing, attend the events, be plugged in, whatever it is, you can make sure that they are, you can remind them, but you have to use the why, because people don't want to be reminded of what they didn't do. Like somebody doesn't go to a meeting like, hey, Jim, where were you last night? Yeah, they already know they weren't there. They don't need you telling them, or any of us telling them that. I've had to learn the hard way on a lot of these things. But just, yeah. So, but the best thing that we can do to help somebody be better is do it without them. I mean, do it regardless. Like, just do more of the basics. So let's go recruit more people. And then you get somebody started that's a kind of a shaker and a mover, and they light everybody up, cross line, up line, down line. And then it's not about them. And that's one of the things that's been most effective for helping me build is becoming good at the basics and being a great bringer, bringing somebody to the presentations, bringing somebody, doing what you're asking other people to do, but doing more of it. And then again, when somebody feels like they're like your whole group or half your group or whatever, then they won't be nearly as good as they could be if they didn't think, if that wasn't the case. It's really interesting how it works like that. So the best thing you can do to help people oftentimes is go build somebody else, right? And then they become better. So a lot of my success could be credited to other people that were ambitious, that were not in my group, that I wanted to, that would make me work harder because I genuinely wanted to beat them.
Yeah.
In a friendly manner. They didn't know it. Only I knew it. And so people that end up building are oftentimes competitive. They find something to be competitive with. And so again, the best thing you could do to help people oftentimes, it was two things. One is working through them, and we'll work together. Once we get some more people, we'll work together on how to do that. And the other one is to continue to stay focused on the basics until we have, the right builders, and you'll identify them. You're gonna, you had 13 or whatever you sponsored, and 2 of them are kind of still plugging at it, a little bit in the game. Well, those numbers will change over time as you become more of an asset to your people, and you're more in the game, and consistently, and you're just further along. You're Sapphire, more credibility as it relates, and you could be edified even stronger as your upline's working with you, and you're edifying you more now. Like I'll be involved, and we start to build the team out. Then as I boomerangs further along, head more towards a momentum phase where there's more stories in place. Success stories and brand awareness is what leads to momentum. And so when we have that, then you're not going to have 11 out of 13 who drop off. It will be a smaller percentage. But this early in the game, it's normal.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do.
Good
So
stuff.
one final quick question.
Sure.
Any clue when Vibe is coming to San Diego?
No.
Okay.
I don't have any insight on that yet. But
Okay.
as soon as I'll put feelers out, but don't hold me to it because they keep things pretty tight.
Okay.
Which I love.
No.
But I hate it, but I love it. But
Okay.
lastly, I will post in the that little group. I'll send you the sheet I'm referring to. Once we do it with you, then we'll do the same thing with Larry and with TJ.
Okay.
And but you'll understand why and how the reason what you're gonna be kind of surprised when you see why this is so effective.
Okay.
But that's what let's start there with you, and let's find you some new blood as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's
And I
do
like
it.
Larry and TJ. They seem like great people.
They really are. They really are great people. They really, really, really are. And I'd like nothing more than to help them.
I'm
And-
glad that Larry came on. I'm glad that he shared that with us at the end there. That that he almost didn't get on. That he's glad that he did, because that is a demonstration of just starting to build a relationship, getting to know one another, and that's what he's appreciating. He thought it was just going to be about business, and that's taking a sincere interest in people. Hey, honey. Glenn, this is my daughter, Sierra.
Yes, I know her. Hi.
Oh yeah, that's right. You met her
Yeah.
in Cancun.
Oh yeah, I remember you.
Yeah.
Hi, book signing, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I remember you too.
Hey, babe. All right, Len.
All
Well,
right.
then I love you too. Where are you going?
Well,
She wants to do Burger King now, so she's going to Burger King.
Oh, I see. I'm just getting ready to eat, so I'm starving.
I know,
All
I
right.
am too.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys. All right, Len. Well, then we can sign off now, I guess.
Thank you so much, Tommy. I appreciate you. You're going to
You
send me
got
those forms, and I'm going to send you my why, and I'll send the forms back, tomorrow probably, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Thanks.
Thanks. Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.